All right, let's dive in. We're tackling a listener request today, a deep dive into the one and only Jim Carrey.
The comedic legend himself.
Exactly. And we're going off of a really cool list you guys sent
From
in.
the top10s.com. Right.
Yeah. It's a fan-ranked list of his best movies, which is, I think, going to give us a unique perspective.
Definitely. It's not about critical acclaim here. It's pure audience love.
Yeah.
What are the movies that really stuck with people?
And that's what we're going to unpack today.
The why behind the ranking.
Exactly. So, kicking things off at the top spot, we've got Dumb and Dumber.
A classic.
No kidding. And the comments are hilarious. People are talking about nonstop laughter, saying this movie changed their outlook on life. I mean, for a movie about two guys who, let's be honest, aren't the sharpest tools in the shed, that's saying something.
It really is. It speaks to the power of slapstick, right? It gets dismissed sometimes, but Dumb and Dumber takes that style and elevates it. It becomes a commentary on the absurdity of life itself.
And it's so quotable.
Oh, absolutely.
We landed on the moon, Kim.
Exactly. It's those iconic lines and moments that stick with you. They become cultural touchstones. You quote them with friends. You use them as memes. It's a shared language of humor.
It's true. But this deep dive is about more than just laughs. One comment that really jumped out at me was about Liar, Liar. Someone called it a surprisingly touching portrayal of a father-son relationship. Not exactly what you'd expect from a Jim Carrey comedy, right?
Yeah, you wouldn't think a movie about a lawyer forced to tell the truth would pull at your heartstrings.
Right. So how does it manage to do both? Be hilarious and have this emotional depth?
Because at its core, Liar Liar isn't about the wacky premise. It's about a father trying to connect with his son. The comedy is a vehicle, you know. It allows us to approach a potentially heavy topic with a sense of lightness.
I see, so we're laughing with them, not at them.
Exactly. We can laugh at the absurdity of it all, but we also recognize the genuine emotion underneath.
And I think that's a thread we see in a lot of Carrey's films, even the more outlandish ones, like The Truman Show, for example. It tackles family dynamics, but from this completely different angle.
That's a brilliant comparison.
Right. It's about a guy who realizes his entire life is a fabricated reality TV show. So the family, in this case, becomes society itself.
Wow, yeah. It's about breaking free from that control, finding your true self.
Exactly. And that's what's so fascinating about Carrey. He can tackle these really complex themes, but he does it in a way that's entertaining, thought-provoking.
He makes you think without even realizing it.
Right. The Truman Show sits at number 4 on this list, and it's definitely a departure from the pure slapstick of, say, Dumb and Dumber. Does that tell us something about Carrey fans, do you think?
I think it shows his range. He's not afraid to stretch himself as an actor, take on roles that demand more than just physical comedy.
Yeah, the comments definitely praise his dramatic range, the emotional depth he brings to those characters.
It's true.
Okay, so let's talk about the film that really solidified his comedic genius, the one that made him a household name. The Mask, coming in at number 5.
Oh, The Mask. That's pure Carrey unleashed.
Right. One commenter even called him a real-life cartoon, and in this movie, he literally becomes one.
It's like watching a live-action Looney Tunes. There's a freedom in that, right?
Yeah.
He can indulge every wacky expression, every over-the-top physical gag.
It's pure, unadulterated fun.
Absolutely.
And speaking of larger-than-life characters, we can't forget about the Ace Ventura franchise. First one sits at number 6, and some people even compare Carrey to Charlie Chaplin in this one.
Wow, really? Charlie Chaplin?
Yeah. I mean, Ace Ventura, Pet Detective, showcases everything that would become Carrey's signature style, right?
The physicality, the improv, the ability to be completely absurd and still make you connect with the character.
And he created a character so unique, so outlandishly funny, that it became instantly iconic.
Oh, absolutely.
Now, the sequel, Ace Ventura, When Nature Calls, might not be as universally loved,
It's definitely got a different vibe.
but people still praise Carrey's comedic energy in it.
Oh, he's always on.
But then, things take a turn with Eternal Sunshine of the Spotless Mind at number 7. This one seems to have some really passionate defenders online, calling it a 21st century classic.
Eternal Sunshine is special. It blends romantic comedy with this mind-bending exploration of memory and regret.
And Carrey's performance is completely different here, right?
Oh, yeah, it's nuanced, full of heartache. It's a film that stays with you long after you've seen it.
And then there's The Cable Guy, landing at number 8. This one seems to be a bit of a wild card. Some people call it a hidden gem. Others find it, well, kind of creepy.
The Cable Guy is definitely Carrey's subverting expectations. He's not the lovable goofball we're used to.
There's an edge to this character, a darkness that some viewers found off-putting.
But that's what's so interesting about him, right? He's not afraid to take risks, to push boundaries.
Yeah, he could have easily stayed in his comedic comfort zone, but he's constantly evolving.
That's the mark of a true artist.
So we've covered a lot of ground here. From the slapstick brilliance of Dumb and Dumber to the mind-bending journey of Eternal Sunshine, we've seen the incredible range of Jim Carrey.
It's pretty amazing.
But before we jump into part 2, where we'll explore some of his other notable roles, what are your initial thoughts? What is it about Jim Carrey that keeps you coming back for more?
I'm curious to hear what stands out to you guys. What resonates? We'll be back with more Jim Carrey soon.
It's amazing how, even early on, you see those signature Carrey traits.
Oh, totally. Like you can see the comedic genius brewing.
Even in a movie like Once Bitten.
Oh yeah, Once Bitten. Now that's a deep cut.
It might not be his most well-known.
Not exactly Ace Ventura level fame.
But you see that comedic timing, that knack for physical humor.
It's like it was always there, just waiting to explode.
Totally. And it's interesting because as much as we talk about the laughs,
Which, let's be honest, there are a lot of them.
there's also this surprising emotional depth to a lot of his characters. Oh, absolutely. He's not afraid to be vulnerable, to show those flaws and insecurities.
And that's what makes them relatable, right?
It's true. He can be totally ridiculous one minute and then break your heart the next.
And he does it so effortlessly.
Speaking of range, we have to talk about Man on the Moon.
Oh, his portrayal of Andy Kaufman.
It's transformative. I mean, you can't even tell where Jim Carrey ends and Andy Kaufman begins.
Man on the Moon was a game changer for him. It proved he could do serious drama.
He captured Kaufman's comedic brilliance, but also that complexity, that fragility.
He wasn't just playing Kaufman, he became him.
It's true.
Yeah.
And then you have films like The Majestic, which takes a more grounded approach,
Totally different vibe.
worlds away from Ace Ventura, but he brings that same level of dedication, that authenticity.
He just flows between those comedic and dramatic roles,
He's a chameleon.
adapting to whatever the story needs.
And let's not forget about his voice acting.
Oh, right.
Like in Horton Hears a Who, he brings so much warmth and humor to Horton.
You can hear the emotion in his voice.
It's amazing. And it's not just Horton. He did multiple voices in A Christmas Carol.
Really showcasing that vocal versatility.
He's not content being boxed in,
Always pushing those boundaries.
That's what keeps things interesting.
Exactly. Like, think about the number 23. It's not one of his biggest hits,
Not everyone loved it.
but his performance is incredible. He dives into this dark, psychological role,
He's not afraid to get uncomfortable.
and those risks often lead to the most rewarding experiences.
It's true. He could have just stuck with the goofy characters, but he keeps pushing himself.
That's what makes him a true artist.
And even in his most comedic roles, there's often a hint of darkness lurking underneath.
You're right. Like, think about the cable guy again. The laughs are there.
But there's this unease, like something's not quite right.
He uses humor to explore those complex themes, those emotions we might shy away from.
It's not always about easy laughs.
Sometimes it's about making us think, making us feel a little uncomfortable.
And even in something like Kick-Ass 2, where he's not the main character,
Colonel Stars and Stripes.
he still brings that energy, that charisma.
He steals the show, even in a supporting role.
It's those little nuances, the way he brings a character to life.
It's what makes him so captivating to watch.
So as we head into the final part of our Jim Carrey journey,
Can you believe how many movies we've covered?
it's clear he's more than just a comedic icon.
He's a true artist, a master storyteller.
He can make you laugh one minute and have you in tears the next.
He's one of a kind, wouldn't you say?
All right, we're back for the final stretch of our Jim Carrey deep dive.
The grand finale.
Exactly. And we've got some really interesting films to unpack.
Let's do it.
Starting with me, myself, and Irene.
Oh, that one's a wild ride.
The comments are hilarious. People are talking about raunchy hilarity and just nonstop laughs.
It's pure Carrey chaos.
It really is. I mean, he's playing a character with split personalities.
So it's like double the Carrey.
Right. It gives him so much room to play, to really show off his range.
It's amazing to watch him shift between those two personas so seamlessly.
But then we go from that to Lemony Snicket's A Series of Unfortunate Events.
Quite a change of pace.
Right. He's playing the villainous Count Olaf here.
And he's fantastic in it.
People are really praising his performance in this darker role.
It shows you how versatile he is. He can go from lovable goofball to truly menacing.
And he does it so convincingly. It's like, is there anything he can't do?
He really embraces the wickedness of Count Olaf. It's almost like he's having too much fun with it.
But it works. It reminds us that there's more to Carrey than just the silly, over-the-top stuff.
He's got layers.
Speaking of over-the-top, we have to mention his role as the Riddler in Batman Forever.
Yes, the Riddler.
This one seems to divide people. Some love it, some find it a bit much.
He's definitely one of those so bad it's good movies.
It's a visual spectacle, that's for sure.
And Carrey's Riddler's a big part of that. He's just chewing the scenery, embracing the absurdity of it all.
It's definitely memorable, even if it's not for the right reasons.
But then you see him do something like Mr. Popper's Penguins or A Christmas Carol.
Yeah, the more family-friendly stuff.
And he's just as great.
He really has this ability to connect with audiences of all ages.
He can make you laugh, cry, make you think about life.
He's got it all.
And let's not forget Yes Man.
Oh, yeah. Yes, man.
It might not be his most iconic role, but it's got this really positive message.
It's about saying yes to life, to new experiences.
And Carrey's energy just makes it such a fun, uplifting movie to watch.
It's a good reminder to step outside of your comfort zone.
Absolutely.
And finally, we have to talk about Sonic the Hedgehog.
The Blue Blur himself.
It's interesting to see this on a list of his best movies, rather than just performances.
Shows you the power of his star power. He can elevate a film just by being in it.
And his Dr. Robotnik is fantastic.
He steals every scene he's in.
So, as we wrap up this epic journey through the world of Jim Carrey,
It's been quite the adventure.
what are your final thoughts? What is it about his work that resonates with you?
What stands out to me is not just his comedic genius, but his willingness to take risks
He's not afraid to push boundaries, to challenge himself as an artist.
and to be vulnerable, to explore those darker emotions.
He's a true original, a one-of-a-kind talent.
And his films have made us laugh, cry, and think about the world in new ways.
He reminds us to embrace the absurd, to find joy in the unexpected.
To never be afraid to be ourselves.
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into the amazing world of Jim Carrey.
It's been a pleasure.
And until next time, keep exploring, keep questioning, and keep diving deep.